Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and purport. The Advaita Acharya branch received the water supplied by the original gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai. In this way, the sub-branches were nourished, and their fruits and flowers grew luxuriantly. The branches of Advaita Acharya, nourished by the water, jala, supplied by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are to be considered bona fide acharyas. As we have discussed herein before, the representatives of Advaita Acharya later divided into two groups: the bona fide branches of the Acharya's disciplic succession and the pretentious branches of Advaita Acharya. Those who followed the principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu flourished, whereas the others, who are mentioned below in the 67th verse, dried up. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksusun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Brisabhanu Sutai Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakaupa Turubhyascha Kripasindu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this subject is about Advaita Acharya has some sons, and some of them disobeyed the orders of Advaita Acharya. They deviated from the philosophical foundation given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became useless. Just like a branch, when it's broken from the tree, it no longer gives fruits or any leaves. So apparently they got influenced by some Mayavadi philosophy or some type of smarta, brahmana codes, which then brought their downfall. So it's very important for us. We're not. They're next to Advaita Acharya. They're right there in Bengal. Still pretty nice. Kali Yuga is not really developed so much. There's no pollution, there's no cars, you can still drink the water from the river around 500 years ago. Still very beautiful atmosphere, but still they deviated. And throughout history there is deviation from the principle of pure devotional service, which is the actual teaching of the Vedas. But it's not so easy to understand. If it was very easy and very apparent that you could just grab it and do it, then we wouldn't be in the material world. We would all be back home in the spiritual world. So we're covered over by different layers of illusion, and it is up to us, now that we've become devotees, to gradually make progress to understand what is the meaning of pure devotional service. So generally in the material world, the human being, he's after religious activity because he becomes a little intelligent, a little moral. So he believes in God, and he tries to be religious. And in the Vedas there is ample explanation, detailed description of the codes of dharma and religion. There is the Artha Shastra, which says if you do dharmic activities, you will get wealth, for sure, no doubt about it. And with that wealth, you can engage in the other principles of human life, economic development, sense gratification. But ultimately, the Vedas are meant to bring you to liberation. Therefore, after all the material enjoyment is done and one becomes a little had enough of material enjoyment. You've been to the heavenly planets, you've been to Svargaloka and enjoyed so many things. Then you've come to this earth planet and again performed codes of religion. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavana Jeev. You've gone around the universe. So then you become a little wise. Vasudeva Bahunam Jnanavamante. After many births and deaths, one becomes a little wise. Then he becomes interested in the codes of liberation, or the topic of liberation. I'm getting old, I'm suffering again and again and again. We don't know again, we only know this life, but it's a horrendous situation for every human being. As you get old, it's a slow, torturous route into the final moment of death. The kidneys, the liver, the lungs, the skin, everything is degrading and deteriorating. So even if you attain some kind of material happiness, then you will have to suffer. So if you're intelligent, you take to the codes of liberation, as mentioned. So this liberation is the goal of the Vedas in terms of its material aspiration. So fruitive activity is there, religiosity, pious material enjoyment, and then liberation means that the goal of fruitive activity, or the goal of your religion, is to get detached from material enjoyment. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, they begin at this platform. That's where they begin. So we should never think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's come to teach us some nice pious religion. This is not the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Srila Prabhupada said, it's nonsense to think that I've come to the West to convert Christians into Hindus. He said, this is a nonsense idea. I've come to give the absolute truth, which is applicable to all living beings. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what is the goal of life from Ramananda Roy? Ramananda Roy said one thing. He said, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Give up all dharma and surrender unto me. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept this. So this verse, 1866 Bhagavad Gita, it's considered one of the 5 excellences of Krishna. That Krishna is so excellent that he summarized all spiritual and religious knowledge in this one verse. Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam. Just give up all your ideas of dharma, all your duties, and surrender unto me. I will protect you from all sin, and you'll be perfectly happy, perfectly liberated. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is external. He has rejected this. So can you imagine? So if this, by speaking this verse, Krishna is glorified as one of the most wonderful personalities. With this, he's summarized everything, all the conclusions of all religion and knowledge into this one shloka. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this is external. Tell me more. So why do you think that is? Why has he rejected this as a conclusion? I will try to say something on it. That it is because it is still relating to the material. It's saying that you have to give up something. Sarvadharma, you have to give up material duties, materially motivated religion. Dharma Kaitava, this is how the Srimad Bhagavatam begins. So that we're giving up all types of cheating dharma, and we are going to do something which is going to immediately put you into the spiritual world. Therefore, the next verse that Ramananda Roy says, Jnane priya samudapasya namanta eva, jivansan mukaritam bhavadiyavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted this verse. He's accepted this one. And this one talks about the positive activity. So when we come to trying to understand what is religion, what is our spiritual duty, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the perfect teachings. Not only perfect, fully transcendental. Because when we come to transcendence, there's different levels, different varieties of transcendence and transcendental practices and sadhana, like that. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come immediately to the conclusion. Says, Jnane prayasam, don't speculate, stane stita shrutikatam. Simply you immediately hear from the lips of the devotees, or from the pearl-like, you hear the pearl-like pastimes of Krishna. And there is no need to change your position, stane stita shrutikatam. You simply have to hear the pastimes of Krishna. Please turn your phone off. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we have to take it seriously. When we come to the temple for hearing and chanting, we should always be conscious and such forth. So Dharma Koitava. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted this direct process. And Srila Rupa Goswami has given us 64 items of devotional service, like following Ekadasi, visiting the temple, circumambulating the deity, chanting the glories of Krishna, taking shelter of a spiritual master, attending the festivals. 64 items of devotional service. But then Chaitanya, Sri Prahlad Maharaj has given 9 forms of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given 5, from 64 to 9 to 5. Live in a holy place, worship the deity, associate with devotees, chant the holy name, and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. But then ultimately Srimad Bhagavatam is given just 1. Just 1. Kale dosa nidhe rajam astyeko mahadgunad kirtanadeva Krishna sha. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we have to understand that this is the perfection of all spiritual knowledge that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is his gift, that if you just chant Hare Krishna, he himself spent most of his existence chanting Hare Krishna. What is that? Yagya Sankirtana Praya Krishna Vanam Tisa Krishna Sangopangastrapashadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praya. So he's the incarnation of Godhead. And what happens? This Vana, Vana also means syllables, it also means his type, his living. He's Krishna Vanam, he's the same as Krishna, non-different. There's only one Krishna. Krishna is in the category of his own. No other incarnation, plenary portion, expansion, incarnation. Krishna's the avatari. He's the root, the mula of creation, of all existence. So Chaitanya Vanam, Krishna Vanam, that this Krishna, this incarnation, he's Krishna Vana. He's the same category as Krishna. But his Krishna, his color is little different only. His pastimes are little different. And what comes from his, what is his qualities, what is his activities? He's always chanting the holy name. He's always chanting the 2 syllables, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Nam namakari bahuda nija sava shakti. So he's put all spiritual potencies into this name, Nam Nam, the name of Krishna. In Kali Yuga, it's such a fallen age, you have special benedictions, you have 3 benedictions. One thing is, if you think something sinful, you don't get the reaction. Because in previous, if you thought something sinful, you immediately do it, so you get the reaction. But here you can think so many horrible things in your mind. There was one pop star in the 60s, he said this song, he said, "What's the ugliest part of your body? Some say your nose, some say your toes. I think it's your mind." So he had perfect knowledge. So the mind is full of so many horrible things, and we are bombarded by Kali Yuga. But no matter what you think in your mind, you won't get the reaction unless you actually perform the sinful act. So this is a benediction for people of Kali Yuga that the Supreme Lord has arranged. The other benediction is that simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, you can attain all spiritual knowledge that you need, material and spiritual knowledge. And the third benediction is that Kirtana Deva Krishna. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, you fulfill all your obligations. Shraddha Krishna, Vishwakari, Sava Shudrida Nischoy, Krishna Bhakti, Sava Kama, Kalale Krita Hoy. So, strong faith in Krishna includes all your... can you explain the verse? My brain's not working. You're half... I've got to wake him up.
Faith means to think that if we just perform Krishna Bhakti, then all our other duties will be taken care of.
Yes, perfect. So this is what Krishna means, Savadharma Parichaja. So you see, my point is that we are, generally we are weak devotees, we're neophyte devotees, and we have so much contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation. So we are meant to now give up this mental speculation, give up material desires, and pay more attention to this Hare Krishna mantra. Not that and one of the other symptoms of a Kanistha, neophyte devotee, is that he doesn't try to make spiritual advancement. He does his service, he chants his rounds, and then gets on with his material life. He doesn't try to explore the potency of his chanting and his Krishna consciousness. He does everything mechanically and thinks, I'll go back to Godhead. I'll give Gurudev some money, and I'll do some service, and then everything will be fine. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has rejected this attitude over and over again. He went all over South India. He met the most pious people in the whole universe at that time, like the Tattva-vadis. They were worshipping, they worship Udupi Krishna. That temple is one of the most beautiful temples in the world. Most wonderful darshan is there of Sri Krishna, Madhavacharya's mat. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there and he asked them, what is the goal of life? And they said, to follow Varnashram and to worship Lord Vishnu is the goal of life, and you'll go back to Godhead. This is the perfect thing. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no. Hearing and chanting is the actual process. And we don't wait for some liberation, but we want to get love of Godhead right now. We want to dance in ecstasy right now. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process, that you immediately take to this hearing and chanting with strong faith, strong attention, and then all your problems are solved by Krishna Bhakti. Bhakchamama Bijanati. So Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, these are totally rejected by the Srimad Bhagavatam and by the process of Bhakti and Vaishnava philosophy. But we have to accumulate this knowledge by hearing again and again and increasing our strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jala, so the water of the original gardener, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is nourishing, and the fruits and flowers. So just like when you go to Vrindavan, there's one temple in Vrindavan. There's 50,000, 5,000. There's 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. Prabhupada told us. And sometimes if you go to one good person's house, they have an old deity in the house. They have these beautiful courtyards. each house. You just see this crazy traffic jams and rickshaws and scooters and noise. But then when you go into these houses, they have a beautiful courtyard. It's very peaceful and beautiful. Maybe there's a tree growing, and they have a deity, and the deity, sometimes very old, very beautiful deity of Radha and Krishna. So Vrindavan, everywhere you look, there's some holy shrine, some holy place, every grain of dust, and it's been excavated by the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there's one temple there that stands supreme and wonderful and luxurious and full of life, and the deity worship was the highest standard, and that is Krishna Balaram Mandir. Because Srila Prabhupada has, by his Shakti, by his potency, by his empowerment by the Lord, completely manifest Krishna consciousness in the holiest of all places. When the devotees first went to Vrindavan, the very early devotees, there was nothing much there. Some old ladies doing their puja. There was some temples they were run down. And the devotees, it was like a very confidential place, very quiet in many respects. Now even the monkeys don't know where to walk. It's so packed. They can't even know how to cross the road. There's so much people. Millions and millions of people. ISKCON in India has become so completely ginormous that you can go to Vrindavan in the hottest season, in the coldest season, it's still packed. People think, I'll go after Kartik, then it'll be quiet. But no, it's packed. Little quieter in December, January. Very cold. So such a wonderful place. And so this is the fruit. This is the fruit of bona fide Acharya and his preaching, what he has manifested out of nothing, practically from nothing, single-handedly, with no support, not even from his god brothers. So if we want to stay in Srila Prabhupada's line and receive all those benedictions, then we have to hear regularly from his books and stay very tightly fixed. We don't want to travel 1 inch, 1 millimeter from the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And therefore, when we come to Guru Puja, we should take it seriously. We shouldn't be talking. We shouldn't have our hands in our pockets. We should be focused on the meaning of the Guru Puja song written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And if mainly in Kali Yuga we deviate because we have so many material desires, we're so trained in sense gratification, that is all right. People will fall down and get back up again. But if you deviate philosophically and go outside of Srila Prabhupada's society, Srila Prabhupada's teachings, then it's like a offense to the person who made your life. Sometimes people say, oh, you should leave ISKCON, blah, 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 Well, what kind of envy is that? If you leave ISKCON, if everyone left ISKCON, then if you went to London Rath Yatra and there was no one there, how could you have a good time? So they say leave ISKCON, but they spend their whole life coming to ISKCON temples, ISKCON festivals, etc. See? So it's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. So you stay very tightly to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and take his teaching seriously and chant Hare Krishna as much as possible, and understand this isn't a religious belief or some system like this. This is the essence of existence. Everybody is related to Krishna, and there's the proof of that we are Westerners, but we took to this chanting Hare Krishna because we're spirit souls. It's not a foreign thing. It's innate in the soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eka Kare Nama. Eka Nama, I can't remember the verse. Savat Pape Choi. Eka Nama, Krishna. So anyway, it means that by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one kills all one's sinful life, and one can navavida purna bhakti. One can complete all 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting Hare Krishna. But you have to take it seriously. So I'll stop now because I have run out of things to say. But maybe we could have some questions. I was trying to make a point about this Krishna consciousness, and that's the best I could do. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Got a question about the Madhva line. As you mentioned, so Mahaprabhu kind of corrected them. They said, well, liberation's our goal, varnashram's our process. And Mahaprabhu was Shravanam. Was it Shravanam and Kirtanam or just Shravanam, he said?
He said Shravanam Kirtanam.
Shravanam Kirtanam is our process, and love of God is our goal. So the question then is, we also accept that the Madhva line is bona fide, one of the 4 bona fide sampradayas. So how do we tie the 2 things together? If they're bona fide, why is Mahaprabhu kind of correcting them?
Mahaprabhu is a spiritual revolutionary, and he gives everyone the same opportunity. So if he's giving to the fallen, Nityananda's going around Bengal turning dog eaters into Vaishnavas, so then the same opportunity Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives to the most elevated people. Just like he went to Sri Rangam and he met with Venkatabhatta, and they had some discussion on who was the most glorious, Lord Narayan or Krishna. Narayana Svabedepi, Shri Sa, Krishna, Sarupaya, Rasa Nochate, no, Krishna, Rasa, anyway. Get rusty. So we see that Krishna, his mellows are superior. The mellows of his devotees, they're superior. They are more intimate. There's more love. So where there's more love, then that personality is greater. Even though Narayan and Krishna are exactly the same. So he gave opportunity there in Sri Rangam. They are all worshipping Lord Narayan. Of course, not everyone will come to worship Krishna. They will stay with Lord Narayan. Mrigari Gupta, he stayed with Ramachandra. So, but the opportunity is given. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in front of all the deities, the Vishnu deities and the demigod deities, when he went to visit temple of Hanuman or Lord Shiva or his own incarnation like Matsya, Varaha, Nrsimha, he would dance and chant in ecstasy Hare Krishna. So he was also showing his own avatars how they can also attain spontaneous devotional service. So he didn't even discriminate with the highest and lowest human being. He also preached to his own incarnations. Because we know his own incarnations, that this is a chapter on Advaita Acharya. He's a plenary portion. He's the incarnation of Krishna for creating the universe. But he's very eager to come with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He understands Krishna's coming. Or actually, he asked for Krishna to come. But this pastime is there. That even the expansions of Krishna, Balarama is the first expansion, non-different from Krishna. Still he's enjoying love of Krishna. Even Krishna himself comes to enjoy love of Krishna because he takes on the mood of his own devotee. So this love of Krishna, this worship of Krishna is so ecstatic, it's so wonderful that Krishna wants to become a sadhaka. He wants to become a practitioner. Not only Krishna, but all his associates. Just like in the Rasa Leela, they're all dancing. The gopis, the manjaris are there. They're all in the highest ecstasy of love. But they also want to come, and they also have an eternal position as sadhakas, as devotees. This life is so nice with this mridanga and kartal and dancing and worshipping the deity. It's so nice that even the worshippers, the worshipped want to become worshippers. So this is the wonder of Krishna consciousness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the whole universe, millions of universes, everyone in existence, including his own demigods and devotees. Krishna is giving in the chants, come and let us become Ashraya and Shaya, yeah. So Krishna is the ultimate shelter of everything, but he wants to take shelter of Krishna himself. So therefore he becomes a devotee. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's business.
Hi Krishna, thank you for the class. My question would be about surrendering. I know the process of surrendering, but there is also a mention of spontaneous, instantaneous surrender, and I don't really understand how that works. Would you be able to explain?
Srila Prabhupada says that in the beginning one is forced by the spiritual master, 10 Mangalati, chant Hare Krishna, do service. But later one actually likes to do it. You like, oh, I must go to Mangalati, see Krishna, I like Krishna, he's nice. So as you find Krishna more and more attractive, then your vaidhi, your following of the rules becomes more, you become more attracted to Krishna. So that's the beginning of your spontaneity. So at the present you surrender, you give up material life, you come here, you do service with your physical, you clean, you do service, and then gradually your attraction to Krishna develops, mainly by hearing and chanting. So when that spontaneous mood becomes very strong, then we call it spontaneous devotional service. And that's a whole topic in itself. But this topic of spontaneous devotional service is all in Srila Prabhupada's books. So after Bhagavad Gita is just the foundation, ABC, then Srimad Bhagavatam, then Chaitanya Charitamrita, and such forth. You find out more and more as you go along. It's a great jigsaw puzzle. You have to fit the pieces. You cannot understand it overnight. Achahara prayasas cha, utsahan nischarayat dhariyat. You have to be patient, enthusiastic, and then more and more. Generally it takes a long time.
Okay. I just remember a story of a devotee telling someone giving someone a book, just showing him the picture, and he immediately started crying, and he was illiterate, and Prabhupada was like, this person, he got it. So I thought maybe there's a shortcut.
Sorry. Yes. Actually, yes. Thousands of devotees, a lot of devotees, they see Krishna when they join. They have darshan, some extraordinary experience. They feel unbelievable ecstasy. And then they have to spend 40 years trying to... So generally, you get free. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately gives you love of Godhead, right there. But then you've got to go through your whole life. So if we all just were in ecstasy and rivers of tears, we'd never get that. How would we spread Krishna consciousness? How would the confidentiality of devotional service be protected? It would become obvious, and it would become cheaply by the non-devotees. So it's hidden from the whole world. So one of the ways it's hidden is the devotees seem to be ordinary living beings, struggling with all sorts of problems. But they're actually all liberated beings. Actually, Krishna, you're already back at God. It's all over. You just have to wait. Tatenu kampam manushikshamano punjata eva. So as long as you stay with Krishna, through thick and thin, everything's nice now, you're in the temple, you just walk down the stairs, all spiritual. But once you're out there in the world, your baby's crying all night, the wife's calling you, and you're, and the other way around, sorry, modern age. And the husband's been neglecting and horrible and rude, then it's not so easy, right? You've got all sorts of things to do. Now it's easy. So that's why you have nice car, you just stay here, forget everything. Then you'll go very fast. You want shortcut? Stay here. What did Narada Muni tell the brahmachari? He said, die immediately. You go straight back to Godhead. Right? You know the story? And they'll tell you at breakfast. Govinda, one more?
You mentioned how Vrindavan is very busy. So I've noticed to get darshan, some of these temples, you queue up for a long time. The doors open, there's almost like a stampede. And it's like you spend most of the time waiting and then you get just a few seconds darshan. And it seems to me that, tell me what you think about this. Is it because it's difficult to get darshan? Does that make it more, the people want it more? And because like in the West, you can come here, there's no queue, and you can have as much darshan as you like, but people don't generally want to come. Whereas in Vrindavan, it's like, it's so difficult to get that darshan, but everyone's eager to do it, and it's like a stampede. Do you think it's like, it's too easy? Makes it, people don't value it if it's too easy?
I thought about this, it's like we're so fortunate, but on Janmashtami, it's very difficult to get darshan. You can't even, 10-hour traffic jams. It's all in the news. It's made the British newspapers about these traffic jams. 10-hour traffic. They released 50,000 tickets instead of 5,000 or something. So the same happens here. But generally we're very fortunate. But we don't appreciate it, our good fortune. And if everyone got too ecstatic, then it'd become difficult. Then we'd need, Prabhupada said we want 10 temples in London. So it's all relative to appreciation, and I don't really, what to do. But one thing that we can say about India, just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met the Tattvavadis in Udupi, he said, your best quality, your wonderful quality is that you accept the form of Krishna as the ultimate truth. This is Vaishnava. So you see in India, the most amazing thing about people of India is they have unbelievable faith in the deity. Unbelievable. And they have their bhav, they have a mood of surrender to the deity. It's quite incredible. What an amazing place. Nowhere like it. Hare Krishna. Mataji?
So, Prabhu, you mentioned that we always should take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And here in the verse also sub-branches are coming. ISKCON also have many other ideas. Now, new people, when they're coming into ISKCON, as you were constantly mentioning, follow Srila Prabhupada, do this, 4 regulative principles, chant Hare Krishna. But there are other groups also trying to tell us that this is not the right path, we are the... So how would you convince the newcomers? Because once I was victim of that circumstances, but then I said to them that, I'm a neophyte person, don't know a lot of things. Whatever Srila Prabhupada is giving us, I must learn that first of all, before I go into any further venture. So for the new people, when they come in, I'm sure they are also going hither and thither. So could you advise that how we should be strongly stay in ISKCON Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet?
Yeah, I noticed when I went to Vrindavan some time ago, I saw a lot of young people, brand new young Western people. Yes, they're young, really young people in their early 20s, going to Babaji's and this and that. And ISKCON becomes so big now, it's very difficult for them to get relationships with devotees because ISKCON's just like, it's massive and they just can't connect. So they've been somehow or other introduced to Krishna consciousness and they've gone to Vrindavan and they've gone to outside of ISKCON. And ultimately, although we're very strong that you should stay with Srila Prabhupada, at the same time, we're not got a monopoly on Krishna consciousness. Other people are Krishna conscious and they're outside of ISKCON. So we respect them. We respect them and we keep our distance. So it's fine. We're going to be liberal and we're going to be strict in different circumstances. So we can only try our best, like that. But when it's a philosophical deviation, it's a very complex situation, and we can only do our best. The best thing is to make relationships and friendships, and when people have a relationship with devotees within ISKCON, then they generally stay in ISKCON. But if they're very early and they get a relationship with someone outside, then what can we do? So we have to respect all the Vaishnavas, even inside, outside ISKCON. At the same time, we have to be very careful. We can only save ourselves ultimately, and it's up to Krishna in the end. What can we do? Is that all right? Yeah, we don't want to create divisions and conflict. Best to not get into it. This is a neophyte tendency to argue about this tattva or that tattva. We don't want to do that. We have so much to learn, so much chanting and service. We haven't got time. So best not to argue on principles of tattva generally, or just have your own mood. Now ISKCON is so huge, each guru has his own mood, his own way of spreading Krishna consciousness, teaching, his own way of kirtan. So stay in whatever camp you're in and contribute to the whole as much as you can, and the harmony of the whole society. It's very complicated. You think material life's complicated, you come to spiritual life, it's like tens of thousands of times more complex. It's like when you go to when you're here in Britain, ISKCON is, the Hare Krishna movement, and then you go, I remember when I first went to India, I realized the Hare Krishna movement is just one of millions of spiritual institutions, millions of temples, millions of gurus, millions of sadhus. What to do? So we are a big branch now of that, and Srila Prabhupada's glory is ever expanding. What to do? Is that all right? Yeah. It's okay. So, thank you very much for coming to the temple, attending class. Please forgive my mistakes. And Jai Srila Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Go Premanandi.